We often want to see how our students are performing. And we can get pretty detailed data on student performance by going to the Statistics tab. We can research data on performance either by student or by the homework set. The first two sections, percentage of active students with correct answers for each problem and percentage of students receiving at least these scores, refer to the overall homework. And the last section gives detailed information about every single problem on that homework. Going back to the statistics section, let's look at what we can see by looking at the progress of an individual student. Note that you can see the progress on every individual problem in the homework set. The Student Progress tab gives us related information on student progress. So, for example, if I click on a student, we'll see the same thing as we did in the statistics section. However, if I click on one of the homeworks, I get a slightly different view of student progress. From the student progress window, I can actually email the individual student directly from WebWork.